Hi guys, it's Mango and welcome back to my channel. In today's video we are going to be looking at some of the most controversial moments from the Cannes Film Festival throughout the last few years, the last few decades actually, and how they highlighted and became some of the biggest moments in film festival history. So let's get started. First clip is featuring the amazing Javier Bardem, who received a sort of sexist question from a journalist during the press conference of the movie.
Se siente ser el único hombre del mundo que disfruta trabajando con su mujer.
La pregunta es de una falta de gusto tremenda.
The second controversial moment that we will be discussing is for the press conference of Okja, which came out in 2017, and it was a huge controversial moment for the film festival as the movie was also made by Netflix and it was going to be featured through a streaming service and not premiered at the cinema. So the jury made an announcement saying that there was a lot of things going on, but they do not promote movies that are based on streaming services. So this became quite controversial, and it had a lot of journalists asking the cast and the director questions during the press conference of Okja, and Tilda Swinton had a lot to say about it when defending the movie that she also produced. Let's watch.
I would like to join in how you feel about it, that people are not going to see this film in the cinema, but maybe only on their smartphones.
They may see the film in a cinema, and let's be honest, there are thousands of films that are screened in the Cannes Film Festivals that people don't see in the cinema. The most beautiful and the most esoteric films that people never see in the cinema. It's all an evolutionary process, and Netflix have given Bong Joon-ho the chance to make his absolutely liberated vision a reality, and for that I'm so grateful.
The next most controversial moment that really shaped the Cannes Film Festival red carpet was when Julia Roberts went barefoot. Now, for those who might not know, the Cannes Film Festival has a very strict policy when it comes to what the stars are going to wear on the red carpet. And one of their rules is that the female attendees have to wear high heels. Now, Julia Roberts broke that rule in 2016 when she had her premiere of the movie Money Monster and went completely barefoot on the red carpet in a lovely black long gown and green jewelry. And when asked why she went barefoot, she simply answered, "With jewels like these, I don't need shoes." Now, this was the first time that anyone ever walked the red carpet at Cannes barefoot, and Kristen Stewart followed Julia Roberts' lead by walking the red carpet at Cannes Film Festival barefoot in 2018 when she was a member of the jury. This also sparked a lot of controversy. Maybe Julia and Kristen wanted to show solidarity against an alleged event that took place in 2015 when a woman was allegedly kicked out of the Carol premiere for not wearing high heels. The next controversial moment is probably in the top 3 most controversial moments in any film festival. It is when the famous movie director Lars Von Trier called himself a Nazi at the Cannes Film Festival while promoting his movie Melancholia at the press conference. Now, I'm not even going to say much. I think the clip is going to speak for itself, just like Lars did. I do want to add that after this press conference, Lars was banned from the Cannes Film Festival for 7 years.
We'll take just 2 more questions, short. Go ahead, and then you.
Kate Muir from the Times of London. My question follows on from the German romantic thing. Can you talk a bit about your German roots and the Gothic aspect to this film? And also you mentioned... Gothic.
Oh,
and also you mentioned...
Yeah, okay.
You mentioned in a Danish film magazine also about your interest in the Nazi aesthetic, and you talked about that German roots at the same time. Can you tell us a bit more about that?
Yes, the only thing I can tell is that I thought I was a Jew for a long time and was very happy being a Jew. Then later on came Susanne Bier, and then suddenly I wasn't so happy about being a Jew. No, that was a joke. Sorry. But it turned out that I was not a Jew, and even if I'd been a Jew, I would be kind of a second-rate Jew, because there are kind of a hierarchy in the Jewish population. But anyway, I really wanted to be a Jew, and then I found out that I was really a Nazi, because my family was German, Hartmann. Which also gave me some pleasure. So I'm kind of
Sir?
I what can I say? I understand Hitler. But I think he did some wrong things. Yes, absolutely. But I can see him sitting in his bunker in the end. But there will come a point at the end of this. There will come. I will. No, I'm just saying that I understand. I think I understand the man. He's not what you would call a good guy, but I understand much about him, and I sympathize with him a little bit. Yes, but come on, I'm not for the Second World War, and I'm not against Jews. Susanne Bier is no, not even Susanne Bier. That was also a joke. I am, of course, very much for Jews. No, not too much, because Israel is a pain in the ass. But still. How can I get out of this sentence?
By another question.
I am.
Here's your salvation.
There's just. But no, I just want to say about the art of the. I'm very much for Speer. Speer I liked. Albert Speer I liked. He was also maybe one of God's best children, but he had some talent that was kind of. Possible for him to use during. Okay, I'm a Nazi.
Completely different note. Peter Howell, Toronto Star newspaper. A question for Mr. Von Trier. Mr. Von Trier, Melancholia, would you consider this your answer to the Hollywood blockbuster? And if not, could you envision doing a film on a grander scale than this?
On a grander scale? Yeah. Yeah, that's what we Nazis, we have a tendency to try to do things on a greater scale. Yeah, maybe you could persuade me into the final solution with journalists. No, I'm
well, on that very, very strange note, I'm afraid our time is up. Thank you very much, you all, for being here.
Yeah, thank you.
Oh, Lars, that was intense.
Come on. Yes.
The next controversial scene is featuring one of the greatest film directors of all time, Francis Ford Coppola, when he premiered his movie Apocalypse Now at the Cannes Film Festival in 1979, and it received a lot of backlash for Francis Ford Coppola's way of promoting it and also explaining what this movie meant to him and what he wanted the people to take from it. His political beliefs did cause a lot of controversy and drama throughout the press conferences at the Cannes Film Festival, but the thing that really broke a lot of boundaries at the film festival was when Francis Ford Coppola said that Apocalypse Now isn't a movie about Vietnam, it is Vietnam. That sparked a lot of journalists to leave the press conference, and there was a series of backlash in the media months and even years after. So it is a very controversial but also very important moment in the history of the Cannes Film Festival, and since then we have seen a lot more actors and directors and filmmakers be more vocal about their political views.
What I said before, intelligence, creativity, and friendliness, to let that be our guiding light so that we can walk the tightrope between the primitive man, which is in us, and the godly man. If you're familiar at all with, not to bring up the names of philosophers, because I know, regular moviegoers are going to see this, but this was the whole issue of Friedrich Nietzsche, who wanted to understand what was good and what was bad. Where did we get these ideas? Because we are really in a jungle, human beings. This film just presents a very extreme case where one man goes off, as the line is, beyond the pale of normal human restraint. He goes too far. He's destroyed by it. But in a sense, it's a sacrificial thing, because I wanted to kill Kurtz for America. I wanted America to look at the face of it, to look at the face of the horror, and to accept it and say, yes, it is my face. And only then could they go beyond to some new age. Let's face it, we're talking about a new age in this world. I felt my audiences are familiar with a war film, so first I would like to win their confidence and say, come with me on a trip. It's not a movie. My film is not a movie.
Mon film n'est pas une film. C'est pas du cinéma.
My film is not about Vietnam.
C'est pas au sujet du Vietnam.
It is Vietnam.
C'est le Vietnam.
It's what it was really like. It was crazy.
C'était comment était Vietnam réellement, vraiment. C'était fou.
And the way we made it was very much like the way the Americans were in Vietnam. We were in the jungle.
On était au jungle.
There were too many of us.
On était de trop dans l'équipe.
We had access to too much money.
On avait accès à trop d'argent.
Too much equipment.
Trop d'équipement.
And little by little we went insane.
And one of the most recent controversial moments at the Cannes Film Festival was this year's Cannes Festival at the press conference for the movie Eddington, which stars Emma Stone, Joaquin Phoenix, Austin Butler, and Pedro Pascal. Now, during the press conference, the journalists asked everyone at the panels what their opinion and views are about the current situation in the United States of America with the immigration policies and everything else politically that's been going on in the country. And the person that spoke first was Pedro Pascal, who is an immigrant, and spoke about his story and his political views, which did cause some controversy in the media. So let's watch.
Well, sorry, since you are speaking now. So, congratulations on this shocking, heartbreaking comedy on America. Mr. Pascal, I'd like you to, I wonder what you think about, are you worried about these millions of Latin migrants in the shadows living in America? And do you fear that America will become an absolutely closed country to the world? Thank you.
It's obviously very scary for an actor who participated in a movie to sort of speak to issues like this. It's far too intimidating of a question for me to really address. I'm not informed enough. I want people to be safe and to be protected, and I want very much to live on the right side of history. And I'm an immigrant. My parents are refugees from Chile. I myself was a refugee. We fled a dictatorship, and I was privileged enough to grow up in the U.S. and after asylum in Denmark. And if it weren't for that, I don't know what would have happened to us. And so I stand by those protections. Always. I'm too afraid of your question. I hardly remember what it was.
All right, I think. Who wants to take this one?
I think fear is the way that they win, for one. And so keep telling the stories and keep expressing yourself and keep fighting to be who you are. And I don't know, fuck the people that try to make you scared, and fight back. And this is a perfect way to do so in telling stories, and don't let them win. Don't let them win.
Thank you so much for watching. Please comment below if you'd like a part 2 of more Cannes Film Festival controversial moments. Like, share and subscribe, and I'll see you on the next one.